Hey, hi. So I am Jackson and welcome to Learn WP Tutorials YouTube channel. And in today's video, what we'll see is how you can transfer your website from one hosting provider to another hosting provider using a free plugin. Okay. And the plugin's name is Updraft Plus. Okay. So in today's video, we'll use Updraft Plus free plugin and transfer your WordPress website from one hosting provider to another hosting provider. Cool. Okay, so now let's take a quick overview. What are the steps that is involved in the whole migration or the transfer process from one hosting provider to another hosting provider? Okay, so now as you can see in the screen, okay, so the first step is buying a hosting, okay, because that's where you'll be hosting your existing website, right? So this is what as per your requirement, okay. Couple of options that we suggest you is option number one is ChemiCloud, okay, which you can check. So you can just go to this link https://lwpt.in/chemicloud. The next option is Bluehost, which you can check lwpt.in/bluehost. And apart from that, you can also check Hostinger. Okay, so these are not the compulsory ones. These are the ones that you can check. And we think that these ones are good and as per your requirement. Okay, or if you think some other hosting provider is good as per your budget and as per your scope of work, you can go to that as well. Okay, now so that's step one, buy a hosting as per your requirement. Okay, the next thing comes is your logging into your existing WordPress dashboard. Okay, so that is you will have to log into your existing dashboard. And step number three is take a final backup using the Updraft Plus plugin. Okay, so I'm hoping that you have already connected your Updraft Plus plugin, okay, and you're already taking your backups in your Google Drive. Okay, if you do not know, then I post a link in the caption in the description where you can go ahead and check that particular video on how you can connect a Updraft Plus plugin to your website and take your backups on your Google Drive. Okay, so that's a separate video that I'll post the link in the description. Okay, if you do not know, you can just check that. Okay, so here step number three for the migration, what we'll do is we'll just see and we'll just take a final backup using the Updraft Plus plugin. Okay, now then once we have the backup and everything, once we have made sure that we have the last final backup, okay, of all the settings that you have saved, okay, then what we'll go ahead and do is we'll change the A records or the name servers. Okay, now in this particular case, I have my DNS records, everything stored or everything is controlled through Cloudflare. Okay, so if you have Cloudflare, then you can change the A records or the name servers in Cloudflare. Let's say you're not using Cloudflare and you directly have your DNS settings through your domain provider like GoDaddy or Namecheap, whatever it is, then you can change your name servers or A records through your domain provider. Okay, now once you change your name servers or A record, okay, wait for the DNS to propagate. Okay, so it approximately takes around 4 to 24 hours. Okay, so that's the next step. So you'll have to actually wait for at least 4 hours for the domain to propagate. Now most of the time now recently it happens much sooner as well, like 30 minutes or 1 hour, but it's wise enough to wait for at least 4 hours so that it propagates throughout globally. Okay, now once that is done, once your domain is propagated, then you can contact your hosting provider to activate the SSL. Okay, now the activation of SSL will only happen once your domain is already propagated to the new hosting provider. Okay, so then you can contact the new hosting provider and tell them to activate your SSL. Okay, I'll also showing you a method where I'll be logging into the cPanel. Okay, now for those who don't know about what is a cPanel, so cPanel is a panel through which you can control your hosting. Okay, so your hosting panel or your hosting admin backend is called as the cPanel. Okay, so I'll be logging into my cPanel and I'll also show you a method where you can directly activate the SSL if you do not want to contact the hosting support, or if you want to do it quickly, you can always tell your hosting provider to do it. Okay, now once the SSL activation is done, okay, so then the process would be to install WordPress on your new hosting. Okay, so we'll use a it's like an app installer. So there is an app installer called as Softaculous. So you can use Softaculous and install your WordPress in your new hosting. Okay. Now, once your WordPress is installed, then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and install the Updraft Plus plugin, the free plugin in the new hosting, okay, or in the new WordPress site, okay, and then we'll connect the Updraft Plus plugin to the same Google Drive where you had connected previously for your website, where your backups are already stored and where you have taken the final backup as we showed it in step 2. Okay, so we'll connect to that same drive. Okay, and once it is connected, you can directly see a restore button, and we will restore the latest or the last backup that we have taken. Okay, and once it is successful, you can just log into your WordPress website which you have already transferred it. Okay, so once this whole setup is done, even if your old hosting provider deletes your old website and everything, it won't affect you because you have already migrated and you have already done all the necessary steps. Okay, and after that I'll also show you where you can make sure that you have already activated everything or already restored everything from the old hosting provider to the new hosting provider. Cool. So let's jump into the first step, that is buying of the hosting. Yeah, so in this particular example, since I've already shown you 3 options, one is ChemiCloud, the second is Bluehost, and the third is a Hostinger hosting plan. Okay, so I'll go with option number 1 and I'll show you how you can purchase with ChemiCloud and everything, and the process and everything for the other Bluehost or Hostinger or any other hosting provider is very much the same. Okay, so I jump into the ChemiCloud's website, so you can use this link https://lwpt.in/chemicloud. Okay, so I just go over here and put in the URL https://lwpt.in/chemicloud. Okay, now once you go to this particular link, so this is the URL and the web page that you will see. Okay, so right now they are running a 70% deal. So if you guys would love to see or get their deal, go ahead and check this particular link. I'll put the link in the description as well. Okay, you can click on view deals, or you can also go to directly to their services and use the WordPress hosting thing. Okay, so since we have a WordPress website, I would recommend you go ahead and purchase the website WordPress hosting plan. Okay, now if you scroll down, you will see a couple of options where you can book for 3 years, 2 years, or just for 12 months, or you can book for monthly as well. Okay, but then the discounts that you will get will be more if you book for a longer duration. Okay, and what I have is I have a WordPress Turbo. Okay, so you can see here you can host unlimited websites and you have 40 GB of space. Okay, with unlimited bandwidth, and there are a lot many other features which gives you 3x more CPU and RAM, etc, etc. Okay, so this is the plan that I would recommend. If you are okay with the other WordPress Starter or Pro, you can purchase that as well. Okay, so you can click on order now, and once you click on order now, you can just type in your name. And one best part about ChemiCloud is they give you a free domain. Okay, for a lifetime free domain. If you renew the hosting with ChemiCloud, you get a free domain for lifetime. Okay, basically it's till the time you are with ChemiCloud. Okay, so you can register a new domain, so whatever is the domain name that you want. Okay, so just for an example, I'll show you. Let's say we want a domain something like this. Okay, so you can put your domain, you can click on check, and if it's available, it will show you in the list. So it says congratulations, whystockmarket.com is available. Okay, and you can continue with it. Or if you already have a domain, okay, what you can actually do is you can use this option called as I already have a domain, and just put your domain name over here. Okay, that is, let's say use this learnwptutorials.com. Okay, and you can use this option. Okay, so now once that is done, okay, it will give you an option where you want to choose the billing cycle for 1 month, 12 months, 3 months, 24 months, 36 months, etc. Okay, so as per your choice, you can choose whatever deem fits. Okay, and also you can choose the location. Okay, or whatever location you are in, whether if you're in, or whatever location your target audience is in. Okay, so you can use these options as per your choice. Okay, and once that is done, you can just if you want to use all these additional available add-ons, you can go for it, or I would suggest just choose none. Okay, and you can see we are using a WordPress hosting, a WordPress Turbo, and the server location is Mumbai. Okay, since I'm booking triannually for 36 months. Okay, so this is the cost for 3 years. Okay, so that way you can see here. So if we divide 215 by 3, so for a year you're just paying $70 approximately. Okay, and you can continue with it and make the payment. Okay, now once you make the payment, okay, once you do the checkout and everything, you will get an email saying that, hey, welcome to ChemiCloud, with all the details and everything. Okay, with your username and password, etc., etc. Okay, so you can fill all this information and use credit card or PayPal to make the payment, and it will be successful. So now, since I've already purchased it, let me just log into the ChemiCloud account. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go to chemicloud.com, and over here I'll click on the login option, and I can put my username and password, and it will take me to the dashboard. Okay, so now let's log into the dashboard of ChemiCloud, and there you can see the purchase plan, whatever the plan you have purchased, or what are the other services or domains that you have under the plan. Okay, now here you can see I have purchased WordPress Turbo. Okay, and the domain name is vnetenterprises.com. Okay, and the location is Mumbai with a plan triannually of this amount. Okay, and you can see the next due date, what is this pays, actions, and everything. Okay, so this is how you can actually go ahead and buy a hosting as per your requirement. Okay, now once we have done this step, okay, so now let's go to our WordPress website. Okay, so that's step number 2, which you can see here. Log into existing WordPress dashboard. Okay, now this why we are going to your existing dashboard, so that we can take a final backup using the Updraft Plus plugin. Okay, so let's jump into the website. Okay, so now this is the website that I'm gonna go ahead and migrate during this whole video. Okay, so you can see here it's a big website. Okay, so which has an about, workshops, blogs, tools, books to read, contact, and lot many articles. Okay, so now let me jump into the WordPress dashboard. Okay, so now to log into your WordPress dashboard, what I can do is, if it's a WordPress website, mostly you would know it is domain name /wp-admin, right? So just log in there. Go to that particular URL, and okay, let's verify. Okay, and you can put your username and password and log in. And once you have logged in, okay, on the left hand side, okay, you can just scroll down and go to settings tab and go to Updraft Plus backups. Okay, so now once you are here, you can see here I have already connected, and it's already taking a backup of last 4 to 5 days, right? And what I'll do now is I'll take one quick backup, or one final last backup, and I'll click on this backup now option. Okay, so this is include your database in the backup, include your files, send this backup to remote storage, yes, and only allow this backup to be deleted manually. So I'll just take this option as well. Okay, and let's click on backup now. Okay, so what it will do is it will go ahead and take one final backup of your website with all your existing settings and everything. Okay, so let's wait for it to complete. Okay, and once that is complete, what we'll do is we will change the A records or name servers in Cloudflare or in your DNS settings in domain provider. Okay, so that way your domain will get connected to the new hosting provider that we have just purchased, that is through ChemiCloud. Okay, so that would be the next step. So now let's wait for this process to end or to finish it up. So I can see it's taken a backup and now it is uploading files to the remote storage. Okay, so let it complete. Okay, so now it says the backup has finished running. Okay, so let's close, and you can also check here. It's showing as Jan 21, which is today, and it's 12:10 p.m. in India. Okay, so it has taken the full backup and with all the necessary things: your database, plugins, themes, uploads, others, everything. Okay. Also, you can see here there is a lock over here, that is the option that we had chosen over here, right? That is this one. Only allow this backup to be deleted manually, and since we had enabled that option, you will see this lock as well. Okay. So also we can check it on your Google Drive as well. Okay. So what you can do is go to Updraft plus your Google Drive, go to the Updraft plus folder, and just refresh, and you will see all the 5 files over here. The 5 files that you have: your database, plugins, themes, uploads, and others. You'll find it here as well, right? 12:10 p.m. plugins, themes, uploads, others, and database. Okay, so make sure that you have all these 5 files before even importing or before even migrating everything. Okay, because these 5 files are the main 5 files with having all your settings, backup, uploads, and everything that will help you to transfer your website successfully. Okay, so now once we have this, what we'll do is now we'll go to the next step, that is changing the A records or name servers in Cloudflare or your DNS settings in domain provider. Okay. So now the process would be first to know what is your name servers or what is the A records that you have to update in Cloudflare and or the DNS provider in your domain provider. Okay. So what you will have is, okay, now once you buy a hosting from whatever provider or whoever you have bought it, okay, you will receive an email with all those details, right? With your DNS name server information, what is the name servers, etc. Okay, so if you are updating the name servers in your domain provider, then you will have the name servers. Or let's say if you are updating in Cloudflare, then you will have to update the A records. Okay, so you will receive the same information in the same email as well. What is your IP? Or what you can also do is you can check in your account as well. Okay, so the dashboard that you have for your hosting provider, even in that particular account, you can check what is the A record or what is the IP address to which you have to point. Okay, so now here you can see I have logged into the client area of ChemiCloud account. Okay, so now we can see here WordPress Turbo and everything. Now over from here itself, you can directly log into your cPanel as well as log into the webmail. Okay, or you can even manage the particular product. Okay, so let me click on this name, and now you can directly see all the more number of options basically. Okay, whether you want to click email accounts, forwarders, etc., whatever that you want to do. Okay, so for easy thing, what I'll do is directly log into the cPanel. Okay, because this is the client area or the dashboard what ChemiCloud gives. Okay, but cPanel is where you can see more number of options, the more number of advanced options for your hosting. Okay, so I'll directly log into cPanel. Now once I log into cPanel, okay, now on the right hand side you can actually see the shared IP address. Okay, so this is the IP address to which I will have to point my existing domain. Okay, so in this use case I am migrating learnwptutorials.com from the old hosting to ChemiCloud, right? So I will have to point learnwptutorials.com to this particular IP address which is shown on your cPanel. Okay, this information would also be there on your email, which will be provided by the hosting provider. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll just log into the Cloudflare account. Okay, and I go to the learnwptutorials.com, and from here I'll just choose the DNS. Okay, now you can see here this is my existing records. Okay, now this is the DNS management which I'm managing it with Cloudflare. Okay, now for those who are not using Cloudflare, they can directly manage it inside their domain provider. Now let's take it as an example with GoDaddy. Okay, now let's say you have your domain with GoDaddy. Okay, so what you have to do is log into GoDaddy account, go to learnwptutorials.com, click on it, and just below, if you scroll down a bit, you will see an option called as Manage DNS. Okay, click on Manage DNS, and over here you can update the A records if you are managing your DNS through domain provider. Now, since I'm managing my DNS through Cloudflare, you can see here I have updated the Cloudflare name servers. Okay, so step 1 is, or option number 1 is, if you're managing DNS with domain provider, update name servers over here. Just click on change, put the new name servers what you have received on your email, okay, which is given by the hosting provider, and update it over here. Option number 2, if you are using Cloudflare, what you can do is update the A records over here. Okay, so what I'll do now is I just go ahead and, since for my learnwptutorials.com website, I'm managing DNS with Cloudflare. So I'll just go ahead and update my A records or the IP address over here in Cloudflare. Okay, so I'll just copy this particular IP address, copy, go to Cloudflare account, and I'll just go ahead and change the A records. Okay, so instead of 194.1.147.60, I'll just click on edit and update it with the new one. Okay, and click on save, click on edit, paste, save. So wherever you see this 5.254.55, okay, you can update those ones with the new one. Now, since I have two records of the same one, I just go ahead and delete one. Okay. Okay. You can keep the local host the same one, that is 127.0.0.1. Do not change that. Okay. Rest everything you can just go ahead and change it. Okay, so these are the A records that I have changed. And now what does this particular thing mean is I have pointed my domain from the old hosting towards the new hosting. Okay, so that's what I've done over here. And once this is done, okay, just like as I mentioned, you'll have to wait for the DNS to propagate globally, and the approximate time for this is 4 to 24 hours. Okay, so I'll also show you a method where you can actually go ahead and check. Okay, so what you can do is just go to watchmydns.net. okay, and over here you type learnwptutorials.com, your domain name basically, and from the drop down, if you are doing the option 1, that is if you are updating the name servers, you can choose name servers and click on search, and your new name servers should be shown over here throughout. Okay, or option number 2, if you are using your DNS through Cloudflare, that is you have updated your A records, that is your IP, so you'll have to check A record and click on search. Okay, and it should show up the new one or the Cloudflare one. Okay, so once this is done throughout globally, once you get a tick throughout, you can go ahead and do the next steps. Okay, so since now we have just updated it, let's wait for a couple of hours, at least 3-4 hours, and then do the next couple of steps. Okay, now once you have made sure that 4 hours is complete, okay, and your DNS has propagated, okay. So the next step is actually going ahead and activating the SSL settings in the new hosting, okay. So again, here you have two options. Option number one is just contact your hosting provider through the chat support on their website, and you can tell the domain name and get the SSL installed and activated, okay, by the support team itself, okay. So if you are okay to do that, you can use this option where they will do it for you, okay. Or if you want to do it yourself, what you can do is use the option number 2, that is we'll log into the cPanel, and over there we'll just go ahead and trigger or give an action saying that go ahead and install the SSL, okay. Now make sure that your DNS is propagated and you have completed your 4 hours, okay, because only if your domain is pointing to the new hosting, only then it will go ahead and activate or install and activate the SSL on the new hosting provider. If your DNS is not propagated properly, it won't get activated, okay. So just make sure that your DNS propagation is complete, okay. Most of the domain providers also sends you an email which says your domain is now pointing to a new hosting or your name server updation is successful, kind of an emails, okay. Look for those notifications as well to make sure, okay. So let's go ahead to the cPanel and install the SSL certificate, okay. So now I just log into my cPanel, okay. So I have logged in using my client area of the hosting provider, okay. Now if you are using Bluehost or some other options, you might find, can just scroll down and there would be an advanced section, and from there you will directly get an option to log into your cPanel, okay. And it would look something like this, okay, and the top it would have written cPanel, etc., okay. Or what you can also do is whatever domain name that you have purchased, okay, just put that domain name, okay, and just put /cPanel, okay, and click on enter. And once you go to this particular link, okay, it will ask you for your username and password, okay. Again, you would receive this particular username and password through your hosting provider while you signed up or while you purchased your hosting, okay. So look for that credentials in that email as well, okay. So once you log in, this is the page that you will see, okay. So over here, what I'll do is first I'll add my add-on domain over here, okay, because now in my case this is a separate hosting what I had purchased for another domain, and this particular hosting is a multi-domain hosting, so I'm moving my website to this particular hosting. In your case, if you have directly purchased it for your old domain, you don't have to add an add-on domain, okay. This is only required when you are going ahead and moving your website to another hosting which is already purchased for some other domain, or let's say a multi-domain hosting, okay. So let's click on add-on domain, okay, and over here what I'll do is I'll just click on this option, new domain, and put my domain name, okay, and I'll click on add domain, okay. And once you click on add domain, you will find something like this, add-on domain, okay, which is not redirected. Cool. So once you add this and once your DNS propagation is done, then scroll down in your cPanel, okay, and find this option called as SSL/TLS status, okay. If you don't find this option, you can always use the search option and just type SSL and you will get something like this, okay. Or if you have a Let's Encrypt SSL option, you can directly use this option as well to go ahead and install and activate the SSL for your domain, okay. So I'll show both the methods. So let's go with Let's Encrypt SSL first. So let's click on Let's Encrypt, okay. Now just scroll down a bit, okay, and you will find here issue a new certificate, and over here you will find your domain name, okay, and just next to this click on this option called as issue. So once you click on issue, what it will do is it will go ahead and install and activate SSL for this particular domain, okay. So click on issue, and over here you just make sure you click on these options, okay. You can just install for these, okay. And if you also want to install SSL certificate for your other subdomains like cPanel, webmail, webdesk, and everything, you can click on these options. Okay, you can tick this box. Right now, let's go ahead with these default options. Okay, and once you click on this, just click on this button called as issue. So click on issue, and it says the SSL certificate is now installed on the domain www.alias enterprises using the IP address, etc., etc. Right? So the existing virtual host was updated with the new certificate. Apache is restarting in the background. Right? So this means that your SSL has been installed. Okay, and they have activated it for your domain name. Okay, so let's go back and let's refresh. So now once you refresh, on the top, your domains with Let's Encrypt certificate, you will find your domain name, the learnwtutorials.com, with all the subdomains as well, right? Subdomains as in the mail.learnwtutorials.com for your emails and www.learnwtutorials. So for both these versions, okay, SSL has been installed, etc. Okay, and the expiry is 21st April. So don't worry, on 21st April it will auto renew and give you for the next 3 months. Okay, so that's how these Let's Encrypt certificates work. Okay, awesome. So we are done with this step, that is activate SSL settings in your new hosting. Okay, now let's go to the next step, that is install WordPress hosting in your new hosting, right? So let's go ahead and install a fresh WordPress on your hosting. Okay, for that, let's jump into the same cPanel. Okay, the hosting panel. Then let's go over here. Let's click on cPanel on the top, and now you can just scroll down to the bottom. Okay, and you will find an option called as App Installer. Okay, so for all the WordPress hostings or the shared hostings, Linux shared hostings and everywhere, you get an option called as Softacler's Apps Installer. Okay, so this is something that, so from here you can directly install, or you can install fresh WordPress on your panel. Okay, so what you can do is just click on this option called as WordPress. Okay, and here you will find this option called as Install Now. So click on Install Now. From here, now you can choose whether you want the HTTPS version or an HTTPS www version. Since I had pre-installed it on HTTPS version, I'll just use that option. From here, I'll choose the domain name. Okay, and in directory, make sure you leave it blank. Okay, so this is if you want to install WordPress on some other directory name or some other URL. Okay, so that is learnwtutorials.com/web/mp/wp. If you want on that particular URL, your website, then you can put the directory, or if you want it on the main domain name, just leave it blank. Okay, and you also have an option to choose the different versions. I would recommend you keep it at the latest version. Okay, now once that is done, just make sure give a name. Okay, let's put, okay, and let's put a site. Okay, so I put a site name, I put a site description. Now here you can just put a username and password for time being. Okay, now this is not gonna stay because we are gonna move or transfer your old website on top of this, right? So this thing will get replaced. So for just time being, you can just keep something default. Okay, so let's put admin and let's put administrator at 123. Okay, so this is what I have put for now, just for time being. Okay, now you can scroll down and click on this option called as install now. So make sure that you have chosen HTTPS, you have given your name, chosen the domain name, leave it blank, choose the latest version of WordPress that is to be installed, give your site name, site description, and just for a temporary basis you can give a username and password, and just scroll down and click on install now. Okay, so it will go ahead and install the WordPress on your domain. Okay, now those who are already pre-purchasing WordPress hosting, okay, so for them this step you can skip, okay, because there would already be a WordPress pre-installed on your domain name. Okay, so you can actually skip this particular step, and you would already get a administrative URL and the username and password on your email by your hosting provider. Okay, so you can use those options. So right now let's go ahead and check this particular domain name, whether it is being shown or not. Okay, so you can click on learn.wptutorials.com over here, and boom, right? So now we have a fresh installation of WordPress. So this is now how it was previously, right? When we saw it on the first step, right? Before we logged into the existing WordPress. So now with this, if you see this particular screen, this particular thing means that you have your DNS is correctly propagated, okay, and you have freshly installed your WordPress. So now your domain is pointing to the new hosting. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll log into the backend. Okay, so now to log into the backend, this is the URL, learn.wptutorials.com/wp-admin. In your case, it would be your domain /wp-admin, right? So let's click over here and let's log into the dashboard. So now this is the dashboard. So now, as you can see here, there is no other plugins, nothing. Okay, so what we have done is we have freshly installed the WordPress on the new hosting. Okay, now the next step is to go ahead and add Updraft Plus plugin. Okay, so we add the Updraft Plus plugin and connect it to the same drive where we have stored all the backups. Okay, so that's the next step. Let's go ahead and do it. I'll go to plugins, click on add new. Okay, go to Updraft Plus, search for the plugin Updraft Plus, and over here you will find this Updraft Plus WordPress plugin, backup plugin, okay, which was updated 7 days ago and it is compatible with the version. Okay, so I'll go ahead and install this. So once it is installed, we'll go ahead and activate the plugin. Okay, and once it is activated, we'll connect to the drive. Okay, so let's go ahead and activate it. Okay, now let's click on this close. Okay, now you can see here, right now we have the default plugin. So let's go ahead and delete. If you want to delete, you can just delete all these default plugins. Okay, even if you don't delete, it will just get deleted once you replace your old website. Okay, so let's go to Updraft Plus and let's click on the settings button. So you can either click on this settings button, or what you can do is go to settings and click on Updraft Plus. Okay, so both of them will take you to the same page. So once you have here, now you can see here, right now the existing backup is 0 because we have not yet taken a backup, and neither we have connected it to the Google Drive, okay, where you can see your old and previous backups, right? So what we'll do is, now to connect your Google Drive to the existing Google Drive, what you can do is go to settings. Okay, just scroll down a bit and use this option called as Google Drive. Okay, also what you can do is just set it over here, choose daily. Okay, and make sure you give 4 or 5 days. Okay, so what this thing means is, now we are gonna go ahead and connect the Updraft Plus plugin to my same Google Drive, and once it is connected, every day, that is daily, it will take backups of my website, and it would store 5 backups each. Okay, so at any point of time, you can see last 5 days ka backup. If you give 4 at both the places, what will happen is you can see 4 backups, that is last 4 days ka backup. So today is 21st, the 20th, 19th, 18th and 17th. So for these 4 days, the backups will be stored on your Google Drive. Okay, so that's what this particular thing means. So let's say I want that for 6 days. Okay, I want last 6 days ka backup. So I use this option and I'll choose Google Drive, and I'll go scroll down and click on this option called as Save Changes. Okay, now once I click on Save Changes, a pop-up will come. Now it says you have selected a remote storage option which has an authorization step to complete. Okay, follow this link to authorize access to Google Drive account. So now since we have selected Google Drive, you need to actually authorize Updraft Plus and Google Drive, so that both gets connected with each other, and every day whenever your backup is taken, Updraft Plus plugin will send those backups to your Google Drive and save it over there. Okay, so for this step or for this process to happen, you need to actually authorize both the plugins, your Updraft Plus plugin and your Google Drive. Okay, so let's go ahead and follow this link. Just before you click on this particular link, always make sure that you have just logged into that one account only on Gmail. Okay, do not sign in to multiple accounts at the same time. If you have done that, just log out and then log into only one account that you have connected, or that where you want to get it connected, or where your old backups are connected. Okay, so right now, as you can see over here, okay, only one account is connected and rest all accounts are signed out. Okay, so I have to connect it to this particular learnwptutorials@gmail.com. Okay, so I'll go here, click on Updraft Plus, click on this follow link to authorize, click follow, and it will ask me to sign in to the existing account. So I'll click on this option, and you can go ahead and allow all these options. So these are safe, pretty safe. So you can click on allow, and once you have allowed, you can see this option called as complete setup. Okay, so just click on this option called as complete setup. Okay, so once you've chosen the option called as complete setup, on the top you can see it's success. You have authenticated your Google Drive account. Okay, and you can see what is the name of the account, the quota, storage, and everything. Okay, so this, if it shows success, it means your Updraft Plus plugin and your Google Drive is connected, and whenever Updraft Plus plugin takes a backup, it will send those backup to your Google Drive. Okay, also what you can see is if you refresh this page, okay, and if you come back to backup and restore and you just scroll down, click on this Rescan Remote Storage, because right now what we are doing is we are doing a migration or a transfer of your website from one hosting to the new hosting, right? So now what we want is we want to restore the backup that we had taken on the step number 2, right? I hope you guys remember step number 2, we had taken the backup. So now we want to see that backup and we want to restore it. Okay, so what we'll do is click on Rescan Remote Storage. So click on OK, and it will go to the same drive and fetch all the existing backups. Okay, you can see here Jan 21, Jan 20, and so on. Okay, also you can see here it's showing us Jan 21, 22, 1210. So this was the backup that we had taken, the last backup. Okay, as well as you can also see here Jan 20, there was a backup, Jan 19, there is a backup, and so on. For the last 6 days that is available. Okay, so whatever is the backup that you want to restore, okay, you will see this restore button. Okay, because that is the next step that we are gonna do. Okay, so you can see here now what we are going to do is the next step is restoring the latest backup. Okay, because we have done the step of Updraft Plus and connecting the Google Drive. Okay, so the next is restore the latest backup. So let's go ahead and click on the restore button for whatever day that you want. Okay, so this is the one that we want, where we have all the files and everything. Okay, so let's click on restore. Now once you click on restore, you will see this option, choose the components to restore. Okay, so you can choose all the 5 so that everything is connected and restored. Okay, let's click on next, and it would say downloading backup files if needed. Okay, so it would go ahead and fetch all the files and download it from the Google Drive, okay, to the hosting panel, and then it would go ahead and restore everything. Okay, okay, so now as you can see here, once it gets downloaded, you can also see this particular option. Okay, so where it will actually show you the files that has been downloaded, what is the KB and everything. Okay, you can continuously track this process as well. Just wait for these things to complete and only then click on the next button. Okay, so one is complete, and it's now downloading the other files as well. So here you can see, so we have already gone ahead and downloaded all the 5 files. Okay, so now it says retrieving and preparing backup files. Okay, backup of, and you can see here the version that we had, okay, with the WordPress installation. So it just gives a warning. So what you can do is you can go ahead and click on the restore button. Okay, so once you click on restore, that will go ahead and restore all the downloaded files from your Google Drive. Okay, so it says the restoration process operation has begun, and it will go ahead and restore and replace all the new ones with the old ones. Okay, old ones as in the ones which we had on the other hosting. Okay, so it will take up the whole files from the old hosting and move it over here now. Just wait for this whole steps to complete of verifying database, plugins, themes, uploads, others, cleaning, and finished. Once it is finished, it means it is successfully finished. So now in between you might get this thing. Make sure you put the old one, which you had previously on your old hosting. Use the username and password of that, and not the one that we had created temporarily by installing the WordPress. Okay, click on login, and once you log in, it will continue with the next set of steps. And you can see here the restore operation has begun. Do not close this page until it reports itself as having finished. And you can see here right now it's showing as restore successful. Okay, and what you can do is you can return to the Updraft plus configuration. Okay, so click on it. Okay, so now once it is done, it will take you back to your WordPress dashboard with all the old files where it has already migrated successfully. Okay, and it also gives you an option, okay, to go ahead and check. Okay, so what you can do is just hover here, click on visit site, okay, and just go to the front end and check, and boom, so you have successfully migrated your WordPress website from your old hosting to the new hosting. Okay, and you can see all the files, folders, and everything has been brought here. Right, you can check other pages as well. You can go to about, etc., etc. Right, so all the folders, everything, all the articles, whatever articles that you want, you can go ahead and check. You can check all the pages if you want. Okay, and you can see all the images, all the files, all the links, everything is restored. Right, so, and that's where we have logged into the new website in new hosting. Right, and that's we have completed this particular process of transferring a WordPress website from one hosting to another hosting using an Updraft Plus plugin. Okay, and I hope you are clear with this, and after this we are going to come up with more such tutorials and also show you a couple of things. In the next tutorial I'll be showing you how you can go ahead and back up your emails and move from one hosting to another hosting. Okay, as well as if you guys think that if you want to know something more about WordPress or cPanel and everything, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll be happy to create a video on those particular topics. Okay, and as everyone says, okay, so don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and you can also click on the bell icon so that whenever I post a new video, so you can get notified when there is such awesome videos. I hope you like the video. Let me know. Click on the like button. Let me know in the comments what do you think about this video, and let me know also in the comments that what are the other topics that you would love to see. Okay, so bye. Thank you.